Hey, Matt Patrick Kelly here. I want to share a funny story with you. I was visiting Edinburgh, Scotland, and I came this close to knocking out a God's honest hunchback. No shit, there I was. So my buddy, he was in the military and he was stationed over in Germany. And I flew in from the States, met him in Frankfurt. We made our way to Belgium, took a ferry over to England. We ended up going to Ireland, came back, hit Scotland. We're walking around Edinburgh, and we're lost. So we had a map and we'd been pub hopping and checking things out, and we went to the castle and everything. We're checking a bunch of stuff out. We're walking around and we had like done a circle a couple times and we didn't know where the hell we were, and like the streets weren't labeled or whatever else. We had a map. Total tourists. We looked like total tourists, right? Just walking around with a map, and we're like looking, and we must have made this block 2 or 3 times. Now, what's crazy about this time in Scotland, at that point in time in my life, ever seen not even a one true, bona fide, God's honest hunchback in my life. But this particular day in Scotland, I saw 3 hunchbacks. What are the odds, right? And I'm like, and it wasn't the same hunchback that was making a block or whatever. There was one was a female. There was another hunchback that had different colored shirt, and different colored hair. And then there was this one that I'm about to tell you about. Here's a citizen in Scotland. I'm going to go ask this hunchback, for directions because I'm lost. So I'm like, excuse me, sir, excuse me. And he's, shorter than me. I'm 6'2", considerably shorter than me. Plus, the curve in his spine and stuff made him even shorter and smaller. But he kind of looks up at me, and I'm like, sir, hey, we're lost, and I don't know how to get, here, and where are we? And this guy had the thickest Scottish accent on the planet Earth, and I could not understand a freaking word he was saying. So he's sitting there looking at my map, and he's pointing at it, and he's like, and I'm like, now I'm talking to this guy. He's here. My buddy's on the other side of him, just standing here. He's starting to get tickled, right? This will play a pretty important part later on, so I can kind of see him over the shoulder of the hunchback, and he's starting to kind of get tickled because he can see I'm like, holy shit, I don't even understand a word this guy said. Didn't want to be rude and just, okay, thanks. Really wanted to kind of understand where we were going. I wanted to give this guy another crack, So I'm like, sir, I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand that. Can you tell me again? Where are we? Whenever someone talks at a certain tempo, and then they get louder and they slow it down, that's when it's like, okay, they're starting to get pissed and annoyed. They think I'm dumb, and they're really trying to slow it down for me. And that's what this guy did to me. He's like, and I mean, if I've never seen a hunchback before in my life. I've never asked one for directions, and I've never gotten an eye roll before from a hunchback until this day. And I got one because he's like, I'm like, shit again, blank. I'm like, whoa. Now my buddy can see him in the background over his shoulder. He's starting to he's pinching his nose and he's retching, trying to hold all the laughter and I can see him convulsing, and I'm like, the man I'm talking to is looking at me expectantly, like he's waiting to see the light bulb go off, like, oh yes, thank you, and then shake hands or whatever. I'm still at a loss. So I'm like, Sir, I'm so sorry. I still didn't want to give up on him. I wanted to understand him. I appreciate this guy stopping out of his important time and day to give me directions, taking time out of his day to give me directions. I appreciate him stopping to talk to me, to help me out as a foreigner in his land. I wanted to give him another crack. So I just kind of did this, held the map out again, and this is when things went a little south for me. While he was pointing on the map, he had the nastiest fingernails I've ever seen in my life. They were thick as a nickel, gnarly, scratchy on the ends, and yellow and dirty. You could see a line of dirt underneath each one of them. You know, just like some gnarled harpy claw. Well, instead of pointing at the map at this point in time, he turns around and he starts thumping me in the forehead with that fucking nasty fingernail. And he slows it down even more. And he gets even more loud. And each time he's making his emphasis, he's tapping me in the forehead. I'm sitting here kind of like this. And I'm just like, and my buddy at this point sees this guy starting to get to me. He knows he's impatient and pissed off, and he's seeing me start to turn myself from stupid American, hey, don't know where I am, show me to wham, knockout artist. Better quit touching me with that nasty fucking fingernail, right? So this guy's tapping me, and I'm just sitting there, and when he's emphasizing, he's sitting there tapping my forehead, I can feel it starting to cut into my skin a little bit. I can tell he's scratching my forehead. And I'm like, oh my God. Now, this guy's sitting, now he's a hunchback. He's already kind of bent over and he's sitting here, you know, and I'm like, already starting to visualize where I'm going to hit him. I'm going to ear hole him and just drop him like a pancake on the friggin' cobblestones. He's sitting there doing that to me. I stand up and get away from his finger and I just stand back, step back, and my buddy sees me start to ball my fist up. I'm like, my buddy's like, no. He's just mouthing it. Because my buddy knew. He's like, this would not be good for our visit. Would have been in a Scottish jail. Scottish jail? I don't know how they are. Probably not too much fun. Probably would have missed my flight home. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't knock out a hunchback in his native land of Scotland. Wouldn't have been good. So, grab my map, walk away from the guy, thank him. My buddy walks up to me really fast, like, diarrhea run. Holy shit. Oh my God. I'm like, am I fucking bleeding? Did he cut me? Am I bleeding? He's like, no man, you're fine. I'm like, oh, I was about to knock out him, a fucking hunchback. Holy shit. Crazy times. Glad I didn't hurt that guy. We went 2 or 3 blocks. We ended up finding out where the hell we were. And we hit a pub very soon after that, I guarantee you. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this story. Cheers. We'll talk to you later.